Greetings to everyone. Welcome to Just Subject Matters. Today we are going to deal with UGC NET Paper 1, Teaching Aptitude, and this is my second video. So, it's part 2, Teaching Concept. In part 1, we discussed about education, and in part 2, we are going to discuss about teaching concept. So, let's start with this. So, the concept of teaching is that. Teaching is a purposeful direction and a management of the learning process. And teaching is a process where it provides opportunities for students to actually produce their relatively a permanent change through engagement in the experiences provided by the teachers. And teaching is a skillful application of knowledge and experience and scientific principles with the objective to set up an environment to facilitate learning. And like this, there are so many definitions which talks about teaching. And also we see that teaching is a planned activity, and effective teaching depends on the following factors, like how clearly the students understand what they expect to learn and how accurately their learning can be measured. And teaching is a process in which the learner, teacher, and other variables are organized in a systematic way to attain some predetermined goals. And teaching is an activity that influences a child to learn and acquire desired knowledge and skills, and also their desired ways of living in the society. So, there are so many definitions about teachers and teaching. So, we have to go through those definitions. And next is the basic teaching model. So, under this basic teaching model, we have something called as the pedagogy, come the andragogical model and the heutagogy. So under this, the first two, that is the pedagogy and andragogy, are something that's like two opposite side. The first pedagogy is where it is like teacher centered. And the andragogy is learner centered, so it is like a complete contrast. So in case of pedagogy, it is teacher centered and all designs are fixed by the teachers. So teachers directions and decisions are made. Teachers guidance and monitoring of learning is done, and it is a passive reception in learning, because andragogy is active participation of learning, and it is something learner centric. And when we compare these both, pedagogy is where the learning is within the four walls of the classroom, but in the other case, learning is a wider social context. And in case of pedagogy, it is disciplinary focus, whereas that is multidisciplinary and educational focus. It is assessment in short, and that is assessment is multifarious and continuous. So it is like two different styles. And last, we have the heutagogy, where it is basically self-determined learning. The learners are highly autonomous, and it emphasizes the emphasis is placed on development of learner capacity and capability, with the goal of producing learners who are well prepared for the complexities of today's in the workplace. So like double loop learning is considered as a part of heterogogy model. So these are the basic models in teaching. And we come across the nature or characteristics of features of teaching. So there are around 10 to 11 nature or characteristics of teaching. We shall see one by one in this entire video. So first is the different levels of teaching. So there are different levels of teaching. That is the autonomous development level, which is the base, followed by the MTL memory level of teaching, then understanding level of teaching, then reflective level. So we'll be seeing one by one. So first is the autonomous development level. So this level was actually suggested by Morris L. Biggie in 1976. So this entire model was suggested by him. The first one is the autonomous development level. So this autonomous development level is student centered, and the teacher's function in this process of teaching is more negative than positive, in the sense that there is little or like no leadership or direction for the student or his behavior. Intellectual development is something that just normally happens. So the obvious implication of this is that there is no need for any kind of formal teaching, and we go to the next level, that is the memory level of teaching. So Herbert is a main proponent of this memory level of teaching. So good memory includes the rapidity in learning, the ability of retention, and then the rapidity in recalling, and the ability to like bringing into desirable contents in the conscious level. So it is basically a stimulus respondence. Is a stimulus response, because this MLT is the initial stage of teaching. This includes a habit of, like you say, it gathers the facts and the bits of information. This MLT will enable the learner to retain and also reproduce the learned material whenever required. There are like three major aspects in case of MLT, that is learning of a material, retention of a material, and reproduction of a material as and when required. So these are like the objectives of the MLT, where it is like the main objective is imparting knowledge and information to the learner. So teaching is something that is subject oriented in case of MLT, and the knowledge delivered is like definite, structured, and observable. And in this case, in this level of teaching, the teaching methods that are being used are like the review, revision, asking questions. So all these methods are can be used. And the teacher's role is where a teacher is a stage setter, a resource manager. You can say he can be a resource manager in an classroom, so he acts in such a role. The role of a learner is where the learner is a passive one, because as the subject content, teaching techniques, teaching methods are decided by the teacher only. So the role of a learner is where he can like frame his objectives or curriculum, select the teaching learning activities, the methods of teaching and evaluation and such. So the teaching equipment that are being used at this level is where like the visual, audio visual, the charts, maps, pictures, TV, radio, etc., the different equipments that can be used in this level. And the nature of motivation is where in the memory level, the teacher forces the students to learn the syllabus content through the process of memorization. So that's what actually happening in this level. And the evaluation systems are like both oral and written test can be conducted to check the power of memorization of the students. And the next is where the understanding level, that is the understanding level of teaching. So under this understanding level of teaching, Morrison is the main person behind this. So Morrison is the main proponent of understanding level of teaching. And the teaching at this level stands higher as compared to the memory level, because there is higher development of cognitive abilities. They become more capable of thinking, presenting the facts in the more logical manner, analyzing them properly, and drawing inferences. They are able to evaluate the relationship between the principles and facts, and also provide a space for the assimilation of facts. So the objective of this is like it aims at understanding of instructional messages. You say it is easy for them for comparison or classification. And the application objectives include the use of like proper procedure as what to be done. The subject matter is like something that is very wide and more detailed. So the teaching methods and equipments used at this level, understanding level of teaching, is that the lecture method, discussion method, inductive and deductive method, exemplification and explanation, all these methods can be used. Also the teachers use models, charts, flashcard, pictures to make the learners like get more attached and focused towards their way of learning. Evaluation under this level is where the evaluation system, like it may be both essay or objective type questions. So understanding level needs to be more comprehensive evaluation. So the test and tools need proper planning. A planned test could evaluate the students ability to comprehend or grasp through these. The role of teacher and learner under this category is where the teachers play a significant role because he presents learning materials and generates interest in him. The sequence of the presentation of content or the mode of instructions and methods can be evaluated. Remain with the teacher. The role of learner is more active, and they have to work hard at this level because the participants at this level are the secondary learners. And the third level is where the reflective level of teaching. So the reflective level of teaching is where, like, for example, we have a statement called true teachers are those who help us to think for ourselves, says Dr. Radhakrishnan. So that is what about this level is. So Hunt is a main proponent of this RLT. So this reflection level of teaching is highly thoughtful and useful. The pupils like occupy the primary space and teachers assume the secondary space, because the learner can achieve their level only after attaining memory level and understanding level. This reflection level makes the learner solve the problems and situations in life. At this level, the student is made to face the real problem situations. The classroom environment is to be sufficiently open and independent. The student's original thinking and capacities develop at this level. The teacher needs to be democratic. The knowledge should be like, it should be enforced on students. The students become active and they need to become innovative and imaginative. So there are many merits and demerits also for this level. The few merits are as such that the teaching at this level is learner centered, so there is like more interaction between the teacher and the learner. The level of teaching is appropriate for higher classes. In case of demerits for RLT, it is like most suitable only for mentally mature children, and the study material is neither organized nor pre-planned or systematic as compared to others. So these are the different levels of the first characteristics. Next comes the dynamic environment. So the things that are involved in the dynamic environments are where it independent, dependent, and intervening variables are included. That is nothing but the students depend upon the teachers for learning. So students are assumed to be dependent variables. The teachers are in the position to manipulate the behaviors of the students. So hence the teachers are considered to be the independent variables. The teaching methods, the teaching instructional facilities, the techniques that are used to facilitate the teaching learning process are termed to be the intervening variables. We have something called the bipolar, tripolar, and quadripolar process. It is nothing but the bipolar is where only the teacher and learner are involved. In the tripolar, we have the third one that is called the curriculum involved. And the quadripolar is where the teacher, curriculum, learner, and physical climate is involved. So what is about teaching? They say teaching is complex because teaching actually it also makes use of like media such as the audio visual media or the human interactions or the print media. So all these types of medias are also used in teaching. So appropriate techniques, methods, and medias makes it complex. And we come and say that teaching visualizes the change in behavior, of course, because it creates some changes in the cognitive, be it the cognitive, the psychomotor, or the affective values of the learners. So the changes that occur in the learners need not be performative but be potential ability of the learners. Teaching can be direct or indirect. So under direct, the teachers use methods such as the demonstrations, the lectures, etc. But in case of indirect teaching, active teaching methods such as the role play, project, assignments, so all these can be used. And all these are also learner centric only. And the teaching can be vertical or horizontal. In case of like vertical teaching, teachers may lead students deep into the topic so that they teach the learners high order thinking skills such as the analysis, synthesis, and all. In case of horizontal teaching, there are more areas spread over several topics instead of like going in depth into a one single topic. And we have something called teaching may be planned or unplanned, because teachers plan for instructions before they go to the classroom for teaching content analysis and task analysis is performed. The techniques and methods to be used are like previously decided. And also, on the other hand, while coming to the active learning methods, no strict planning is possible, as one is not clear in advance about what could be possible of organizing these teaching learning activities. So we come to the third objective, that's nothing but the closely related to education, learning, instruction, and training. So, what is teaching and training? When we go in depth, we see that actually teaching is assumed to be the wider concept than training, while teaching deals mainly with theoretical aspects and training is the practical implication of theoretical knowledge. And also, teaching seeks to impart new knowledge while training equips and enhances the already knowledgeable concepts with tools and techniques to develop the specific skill set. So we come across a term called indoctrination. So it can be termed as the highest order of teaching, because in indoctrination, briefs and ideas are impressed upon others and can be included in the teaching also. We come to the intellectual activity. So of course, teaching is an intellectual activity because the teacher has to evolve a suitable plan of action to achieve desired changes in the behavior of the group of learners. So in teaching learning process, learning constitute the raw material. Learners are prepared to teach in continuous involvements with the society with with varied expectations. So next is teaching is a science as well as an art. Obviously, yes, because on the basis of assumptions of science, teachers can be trained. There are definite steps that can be involved in training a teacher, and also teaching is an art as well because it takes place in a dynamic environment. The teacher has to deal with individual differences in the class in a tactful manner. So this requires a lot of individual approaches and discretions. So also we have the other characteristics like teaching is obviously self organization, where the people in teaching profession are sensitive towards growth and development because it's self organized, and the growth in teaching profession is organic in nature, that is the growth happens in a spontaneous manner. Next, the characteristics is that teaching is a social service. So yes, it's been accepted that education is a potent tool to bring about changes in the nation, so it is useful for development of the society. And the high degree of autonomy, it's nothing but there is a high degree of autonomy in the teaching profession, right from the curriculum development, planning the activities of the year, nor identifying the instructional objectives, deciding upon the method of teaching, media, evaluation criteria, techniques. So all these are under the co-curricular activities, and the execution of these co-curricular activities, everything are under high degree of autonomy. And last but not the least, we have teaching as a profession. Of course, teaching is a profession that makes other professions possible. So there are many courses such as the B.Ed, M.Ed, etc., which impart knowledge and skills that establish the foundation for the sourceful pathway to a career in teaching. So it entails a number of years of study and intermittent training periods. So a teacher has to improve his or her qualifications for like advancement in the career, in the teaching career. So these are about the characteristics of teaching. So thank you, and in the next videos I will be taking the next chapters, and the next part in the teaching aptitude itself. So if you want to get further notified, kindly subscribe for this just subject matters to like get to know about more about UGC net paper 1. Thank you.